Another set of function blocks that are useful are the if, else if, and else statements. These can be used to change what is happening in the program if a certain set of conditions are met or found to be true. For example, a condition you could set up might look like this. I'll move over and grab an if block and drag it over to be part of the while loop. And I'll set my expression up to read if bump becomes equal to, which is different than is set equal to, 0, which is the input value from the bump sensor when it's been pressed. And that's all my expression needs to be complete. So I'll move to OK to close. And you can see it inserted my if statement set up to read as if bump becomes equal to 0. Then it will do whatever tasks have been placed in between these two brackets. And let's go ahead and tell it to move forward in a spurt. And we can also get rid of this forward because we don't need it right now. And the program would be set up to have the robot move forward for a short period of time if the bump sensor is ever pressed. However, at this point the program has no way of getting input from the bump sensor. To change that, we can add a bump sensor to the program by moving to the inputs folder, expanding it, and choosing a bumper switch block, and dragging and dropping it just above our if statement as part of the while loop. When the bumper switch window opens, identify the digital input as port number 6 and have it retrieve the input to bump, and click close to complete the setup for the bump sensor. With a bump sensor placed in the program, it can be used to reassign a value to a variable. Do this by adding an assignment block to our if statement. The variable that we want to reassign is count, and we want to set it up to be count is equal to count plus 1. And a simple way of doing that is by making it set up to say count plus plus, which is the same thing as saying count is equal to count plus 1, and is just a little bit more user-friendly for programming. Now click OK. And we have the program set up to advance count by 1 whenever the bump switch has been pressed. Something else to consider is that when a variable is reassigned from the use of a sensor, it's a good idea to also add a 1-second wait block after the assignment block to assure that the assignment isn't reassigned multiple times rapidly because the sensor was engaged for an extended period of time. So to do that, we'll move over and grab a wait block and drag it right underneath of our assignment and drop it. And since the default is already set to 1 second, 1000 milliseconds, we can simply click OK and move on. It's also a good idea, for the purpose of testing the robot, to add a print to screen function block after a variable has been assigned to show the new value of the variable. The print screen block is also under the program flow folder. We'll drag and drop that right underneath of our assignment and have the message that says count is now set to be whatever the variable for count is, and click OK. This is the example of how we're going to use an if statement within our program